take a look at our map, Vito. We'll see where we play this time around.
Well, we just said Consulate and Clubhouse. Will we see a repeat of those?
Remind you, Clubhouse, Oregon, and Coastline were the 3 maps played between the 2 teams, and Coastline will go back to that. Now, Coastline, if you didn't watch the 6 Invitational qualifiers that were streamed last Friday with Sternab and Extra
then you missed out. Go watch it.
You definitely did miss out. It's a very, very tight game. It was 7-5 on Clubhouse, 6-8 win for OrgLess on Oregon, and then a 7-5 win for SSG on Coastline. OrgLess put up a hell of a fight, and it was a 4 rounds on defense won by SSG on Coastline. And we had our bands were Glaz, Valkyrie, Ash, and not surprisingly, Maestro.
Yeah, and this was also a map that SSG played on Playdate number 2 against Reciprocity and tied on that. So
that was Rampy versus Reciprocity.
Yeah, that was the match.
Yeah, okay. We'll take a look at what you guys think, though, and we'll
Place
see.
Your bets.
I think it's going to be more SSG there.
I figured, but that is maybe a little disproportionate for people who maybe didn't watch this weekend of how close that actually got.
There's
of course,
so
that
much
was a best
siege.
of 3.
There's so much siege.
It's true. No,
Maybe you should have watched it.
I would say no one could watch all of it, but we kind of do. So
I don't know if this is sad or not, or like, dedication.
That's why we're here.
But we literally watch everything. Like,
kind of have to.
Yeah, let's actually, you know what I did? I actually posted a video about this. Well, let's get in the game, by the way, Coastline. I had this last week. You know when there's so many 6 Invitational qualifiers that are happening at the same time? I was watching the EU quals, and there were 6 streams that are live. So I did a multi-stream, and I put everything up on the TV. However, when I turned off the mute button, I didn't realize that I had all 6 streams running audio at the same time. It was a beautiful cacophony of destruction and many languages. It was fantastic, to say the least, but, and again, you're watching 6 streams of 6 different matches. You're like, okay, I got to take this all in because there's no way I'm going to rewatch all of these to prepare for anything in the future. So
yeah.
That's going to happen nowadays.
There's some expected bans coming out, some strong operators for this particular map. The question is, will Mirror be the last one, or will we maybe even see a double Maestro and Echo or a Valkyrie? There's a few different options here.
Or Pulse sometimes, if you want to remove
Valkyrie.
There you go.
Not super common, but...
Yeah, the Pulse does happen. It does eliminate the... I think we saw this in EU last Playday. It allowed... Usually, when you run the Pulse on Coastline, especially if you're going to defend in hookah, it allows you to play mute close up to the Pulse, which obviously doubles up on the amount of nitro cells that you have, but also the information that a Pulse can feed in, especially when you're defending in hookah and billiard.
Yeah, it's so much better when he doesn't have to get off the heartbeat sensor. He can just call out with a ping, and then the C4 comes out. It's more likely to hit if it's in a timely fashion. That's the important thing, right? You gotta hit with it, or why bother? We'll see a 6 pick there from Acid sneaking off onto Zofia. And we will definitely have a Doc here as Rampy switches off to the Jaeger. Should be a pretty good operator for him. Although Bandit, I imagine he could play just as well. Either way, though, Jaeger going to be bringing some important utility in protecting against potentially even the smokes coming in or Zofia's grenades, lifelines coming in. The window especially being vulnerable to that.
And continuing the streak of bringing more and more Thatcher.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It is certainly useful.
Yes. It's somewhat of an underutilized operator for other regions, but I think it mostly comes down to your preference. Do you want to just destroy utility outright by using the EMPs, or do you want to combo map control into your strategy, playing an Ash instead of a Thermite, which will allow you to do this sort of destruction, or also an IQ, which would be a pretty handy supplement. Now,
keep in mind though, Thatcher does speed things up, and speed is a problem for a lot of attackers these days.
But how does strategy on Coastline mostly boil down to? Okay, where you're attacking kitchen, you probably need to take control of penthouse.
Yep.
So, or VIP. You have to have map control, or else it just will not really work. Obviously, there's exceptions, but majority of the cases, 99.99%, it is not going to work. Clear top down, bottom up, depending on where the site is.
And they've got the roam control here with the Jackal to potentially do that. Look for the footprints that he finds right away downstairs. The Pulse, who's going to be playing down there as well to guard that. Try and help defend upwards as well.
One thing I'm wondering is Acid bringing Breaching Treasures or not?
Yep.
He is, which is going to add more destruction to a map that already has a lot of soft.
Also, back up if my man dies early.
Very true. Which is great, you know, just having more of those. You don't really
Also, you have the ITA on Jackal, so there's like, you've got a lot of redundant floor destruction.
Yeah, and of course, this is a map where you don't really need a hard breacher every single round. You can just, you know, you can play full soft breach, and that's completely fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of vertical play that could be played both ways on all 4 of the sites. That's certainly a big component to many of the attacks, regardless. So that is making it somewhat different than some other maps to an extent.
Oh, there's 2 sets of C4 being played here by Spacestation. Odd that we didn't. Oh, well, we are seeing the dock, but I wonder where Bosco actually set up his bulletproof camera. I think there's 2 positions, either on the desk or by that B site. I think it was set maybe next to the mirror window. Anyways, regardless of that, still something to keep in mind for. Can't see it.
Yeah, surprising it's not on the bomb even.
Okay, that aside. Smokes are being thrown in, and it is time to push the pulse spotted in the back as well before any nitros can be thrown in. In the face of acid, he'll have to inhale a bit of that smoke, but Rampy's low on health. Chala will not connect the player in the back. Brian is down, but there's just not much that SSG are able to do. Thinking they last alive. Try to find it, and there you go. Acid is down. Shotgun in hand. Yet he's already watching the angle, and unfortunately for the thinking nade, will go down. Just beautifully done by OrgLess. Just taking control, utilizing the soft walls to their advantage, but also the smokes. You know, you had the advantage when you rush in. The nitro cells could not connect, and I wonder where that bulletproof camera was set, because it was definitely not relaying information back to the defense space station, and also having lost the pulse because of there's just one specific angle that the Zofia can look through from the window, and it was not covered by the smoke. That was used wonderfully to take down the pulse.
I gotta imagine there's a possibility that the Thatcher could have also played into that if he was able to temporarily disable the bulletproof camera, then they would not able to see through the smoke. Because you saw Thatcher, for example, throwing 1 EMP into the kitchen, and that was the nice thing. They executed a minute early nearly. They were executing around the minute left mark, which is very early for a push to go in. And part of that was due to the fact that they had the Thatcher to help make for a swifter execute, because they can use that EMP to clear out a lot of site utility. That makes it more likely that when they push through the smoke, they're not going to be pushing into traps and things like that that are going to be able to slow them down, or even those bulletproof cameras potentially that they may have droned out and called for the Thatcher on. So because of that, it was a very swift, a very fast execute, and almost flawless as well. That is definitely something that's been either working or not for OrgLess, but definitely something they've been doing more of when they feel like they see an opportunity.
Now, one thing I want to add to that is the fact that the Maestro Valkyrie bans make it even more complicated for the defense to really run things correctly on this map. And
well, they lose cameras.
Indeed, and this is why Redeemer is using yokais in the guise of cameras in the hallway, which is usually where you see a Maestro camera or see a bulletproof camera if you're also bringing the dock alongside the Maestro. But because the Maestro is banned, you don't have that luxury. Same thing for the Valkyrie here. The information game is extremely important, but because there's also no mute or bandit being played by Space Station, it might allow the Habana of Yeti to go up to the top floor, or at least on the roof, and open up a hole into the bar where he can watch and push away Bosco or any player that's really hidden behind the micro bar next to the hallway and billiards.
You just have to be able to land those shots.
Yep. We're not, by the way, we're not going to call it Bill, okay, Michael? Just, this is not Bill 9 to stop this guy.
Crazy, definitely getting a little dangerous here, but he is still getting the live pings, and that's going to force defender off and rotate out of theater. So that is getting some good map control, even if he's not necessarily getting a kill on it. Now they just need to clear Bosco the dock out of aquarium. And it looks like he has moved out.
There's usually, you know, see teams, especially Dark Zero, they'll go for a combo impacting the castle barricade with the Zofia, and at the same time on the tarp getting a kill off of it. Now you see the bulletproof camera in the back should get taken down by the Zofia. They have to clear out any ADSs and should have hit there. There you go. So that's the cleanup that they needed. Still one more Gizmot available, so they can use that to stun any player in the back and go for a plant.
They can also potentially stun the yokai if it is hanging there with the EMP, and that will give them the option of planting without it interfering as Redeemer's pulling it out.
You see my man droning as well downstairs in the blue bar. just so they're sure that there's nobody in there. So they don't have to worry about plays from below to stop the diffuser plant. Yeti will go down though to Chala, and oh no, the peek here from Crazy will get shot down by Bosco, but the smokes will deny any extra information for the defenders, and no, they're just running in through the smoke. Brian will have to attack and get shot down. Redeemer with the 2K even running the Bearing 9 with no optical attachments to have as little recoil as possible, and that is an actual thing. Rampy will get the last one here on the Cool Vibe stairs, and that's all she wrote for the second round. Wow, beautifully done by Spacestation. I want to say a ton of mistakes from OrgLess, even though they had everything set up well, but then couldn't capitalize.
It was absolutely down to Bosco's peak. That moment that he peaked and got the down, and then the smokes went out, it was, again, they were just trying to fight it at that point, and pushing aggressively onto the pool table did not help. I mean, yeah, he might have been able to catch someone behind the bar, just the timing was wrong. I got to imagine the thinking was, if we plant in the usual spot, we'll just get killed from behind it like we always do, like most teams do, and just hoping instead they would go for the kills, set things up, soften it up enough to go for the plant. And that's the problem now. That bomb site has become so hard to attack if you cannot dethrone the players that are hanging out inside Hookah. And that is...
honestly, not just Hookah, but also the one player that was sitting, I believe it was Redeemer, just playing inside
the minibar.
Of the minibar. And you're like, you have a Habana. There's no Bandit, there's no Mute, and you have a lot of time. Maybe just use the roof to your advantage and open up a hole to have that player always worrying about their back.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that if someone was playing across the courtyard, they could shoot those off, but it's like, that's literally a long shot.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I don't know. It's just, there wasn't enough utilization of the utility and all the just everything that's available for OrgLess. There's nobody contesting into Hookah. I mentioned the fact that some teams like Dark Zero, for example, they'll impact the castle barricade that was on Hookah and try to play the tarp where you can finally kill somebody in the back. None of that was used.
I think that's such an important play now, because that alone, even if you don't secure a kill, just the pressure to stop them from doing what Bosco did makes such a huge difference.
All right, we'll go back to the kitchen. EMP to get chucked into the back. Nope, Brian just moving in. Now what they did before here, OrgLess, is use the...
Oh, countered.
Oh, man, Chala, beautifully done, and then pops the mirror window to play from the opposite side. Wonderfully done by Chala. Legion will get spotted, but unfortunately that might not be a ton of relevant information for OrgLess. My man moving up, taking control of VIP Lounge. As, he's trying to maybe shut down a mirror window. Is already destroyed, unfortunately for him.
The attacker's bomb diffuser
just continue to drone in. You see the second mirror window is set in the penthouse. So now with the top-down control, definitely not in the hands of OrgLess. Time is going to draw away with no manpower for them to use to clear out the top floor before they rush into the kitchen.
Yeah, this is kind of like a border defense events where you have the mirror window set upstairs as well, just to hold that like usual. Yeti's going to double down on what Brian was trying to do. And so far, that's just softening things up. They still haven't hit that minute mark, though.
Bosco trying to fight up by the Lamborghini doorway. There is one player all the way by spawn, and that's Acid. Himself, but the smokes are being thrown in. And what Acid is trying to do is counter the fact that there's extra manpower for Spacestation upstairs. Crazy should be able to hit the plant, but no! Chala will find the C4, and Bosco taking out Yeti. 5v2 here. Advantage for Spacestation, as Redeemer will take a lot of damage here. My man diving in, but instantly shot down by the Legion. And Acid, last one in the main lobby. Should know where he is. The Fuser is being watched as we speak by the defense. And you even see Bosco on the floor. Rampy, though, turn around and hit the shot all the way down into the desk area. Wonderfully done by Spacestation on the defense. And all started with Chala hitting the shot of the Vector.
That really made a difference. And then after that, the smokes just became a play of desperation. I mean, the plant wasn't necessarily a terrible idea. Had it just been the smokes, might have been able to live through it. Very likely you would have got the plant off first.
Yep.
Still might have died right after. Just
but
kind
it doesn't matter. You got that diffuser down, and that's all that matters.
But that is 2 of your players dead guaranteed because of the play by Chala earlier killing Brian. It's just OrgLess was maybe a little too predictable on that attack that time, and just great adaptation by SSG to adjust to it. Meant that the second time around that was more difficult. So this is where OrgLess need to play a little smarter in terms of attacking from two sides. They need to put pressure on, just like with Hookah. They need to have the pressure before they actually go for that execute. The first round, oh, worked great. Absolutely, that was fine because, well, it was the first round. You could get away with things. There was nothing to adjust to just yet. So, either way, now it's on OrgLess to adapt yet again. We'll see if they're able to do so. Because there was some good 6 picks coming out. Redeemer is back on his Echo. He did play the Legion last round instead. They're going with a double mirror setup, 1 crouched height, 1 standing height. And the standing height one on the reinforced wall to be able to peek as necessary as a backup. And then, of course, the usual crouch height one. It's always fun to see that kind of shot out, but they're not bringing anyone the attack that is likely to be able to do that very efficiently.
Yeah, you'd love to have a Zofia in this position, but Acid is going for the IQ in this situation, just to deal with any yokais that are indeed in play by Redeemer. And it's odd that a lot of teams, and basically most teams, will not touch Penthouse until they have a mirror available. And I wanna highlight something that Parker was saying a few days ago when Coastline was in play for EU. You know, he said that back in the day, Penthouse was the top played site on this map. That was around Season 7, when Mira could not be banned.
Yeah, they didn't have operator bans yet. Yeah.
There you go. But that changed very quickly, and now it's all the way at the bottom. And on top now is Hookah, which was, incidentally, the least played site back then.
Funny part of that is that actually because of Mira still, while they're playing it. So
Mira, and then, you know, obviously adding Maestro definitely made things very different. The bulletproof camera really changes the dynamics of this whole set of playstyle.
Ooh,
oh, no, what?
Unfortunate.
That's the wrong one, Crazy!
He ran in front of it. It's,
what are you doing? Why are you shooting at the big window?
I think, was he going for taking down a mirror window?
I think he was just going for taking down his teammate.
Well, either way, that is unfortunate. Yeti being down now. They are, again, getting slowed down on this attack, and now it's going to start to be a little more desperate. Those mirror windows are going to stay up.
Yeti was trying to destroy the mirror window, the soft one, actually.
Yeah.
But
your question, what Crazy was shooting at? I think he was trying to cover for his teammate, in a sense. Like pre-firing so that the peek out didn't get contested. It was suppressing fire, but just the coordination was completely off.
Yeah.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Ouch.
Yes.
Bosco and Rampy downstairs, which is fairly logical. You need some players still to have bottom floor control, as map control in general is an extremely important part of playing any map. But
he's been a good pulse, too, on this map.
Just squirming away there, Bosco, just slithering away, just move to the other side, and indeed it does work out. Forces Brian in, but that's all that they needed. They can just go for the kill here on him. But no, they'll play it very safe. Just trying to draw him in and waste as much time as possible.
Yeah, if he can't move safely in, he's got no one droning for him, what is he going to do at that point? He can't really pressure them. And the defenders are really just mostly rotating back. At the very least, Chala even spraying through the floor. He's, in a way, compromising his own window, but at the same time, like, that is going to really put pressure on them as well, down below.
That window was going to go away anyways. Yeah. My man was trying to destroy it and hit it, and he was very much successful in that, but not for the second one. And Crazy, there you go, he redeems himself as he gets the kill on Chala, but look at the amount of time left. Smokes are going to come out, thinking they should be able to smoke this off. I'm not sure if he still has any utility, but will get shot down again by Crazy. The yokai in the back. Redeemer will find 1 kill. And does he have another charge to use? No, it doesn't seem like he does. The IQ should be able to go for the plant here as Acid fairly low on health. Bosco will get the kill, but it's only 1v2, and Acid will get pushed by 2 angles. 1 bullet should be more than enough to take him out here as he turns his to the opposite end on the Echo. He finds 2! Acid, no! Are you kidding me? The beautiful angles. Play by him in the back and just...
I liked the strategy there, though. They were going for the distracting fire to coordinate, so he couldn't watch one side, but they didn't expect that flick.
Nobody expects the Acid Inquisition, the Acid flicks. Mr. Tomasz Adamczyk. Wonderful.
Like they say, no one
As
expects...
they say, bardzo dobrze in Polish, because he is Polish.
That's
Polish-American.
It's amazing. You learn so much about these people.
It's almost as if we live in the country that speaks the language.
Again, almost as if.
So many
I'm hologrammed in. I don't know about you.
So many mysteries. I mean, You are a programmer that lived in California, technically still does.
Yeah, there you go. So you don't know. Wizard of Oz over here. Either way, though, that was I liked the way that was played for the most part on defense, but it's just again it was just down to Acid playing it well in the end. I mean, you even saw like the Redeemer just hiding in a little cubby in the hallway, just playing on his yokai drone, smartly just stay away from the line of fire. Crazy had a great coverage as well once he moved over to the couch and was just spraying in. They were doing what they needed to do, and it was a great attack that just barely won off of Acid being in the right place. Had he been in a different position, had he gone for a sort of run to escape the room, he would have actually been cut off by Redeemer. And that's the thing is, he made the right play. And he also read into the fact that they were going to try and bait him with shots. Those first set of shots was a distraction. It was a pre-fire, but also a distraction. And he read into that fact. He said, okay, I'm going to get pushed at the same time, both these guys, because, well, that's what they should do, is push me at the same time, and just didn't work out. But either way, Acid barely saving that round after a team kill, and a bit of a mess up the round before with Brian getting killed early. So that's got to save some of the psychological tilt factor that OrgLess might have been creeping towards.
Now you know you're OrgLess, you know that you're going to attack the top floor in billiards. You can actually use one of those X-Kairos just to take down the castle barricade. That's an okay trade here to take down the one.
Well, like you said, they don't necessarily need the X-Kairos.
Yep. And it's not like it's really being used, I have to say. Like, underutilized.
Well, you still have 3 speed with the Type 89, so you're not the worst position.
But still, maybe you should,
yeah,
use that.
Hey, I made that argument about Thermite, and the mark went off, okay?
That's what you're hoping.
I'm giving Yeti, look, Yeti might have last round had he not got shot in the back of the head. I'm just saying. It's possible.
Very true.
He had good rounds before, but
sorry,
not this round, okay? You get this round. Thanks to Rampy. He saved you, okay?
For once, I am right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm right like 99.99% of the time, but...
Except about that statistic. Ooh, Brian, though, despite being on half health, taking out Bosco, that is the Doc down. It's a good early kill. That means one ACOG, well, the only ACOG off the board. So it means can fight some of these long angles a lot better.
Yeah,
a lot of the attackers.
It still doesn't remove the fact that there was a bulletproof camera, but it definitely will make things easier later on. And this is why you play the buck, because top down, bottom up buck is always very, very strong. And this is why, if you're going to roam on this map, try to contest in the bars. And Rampy peeking out here from
the castle screen. The infamous castle screen.
The Zofia one is pretty.
I think there's a ringtone. Just best.
Oh my god! Oh, I wake up to that every morning. I wonder who's screaming.
I fall off of an inch-high thing, and I'm just making that scream.
All right, Crazy firing into the back. It still has 2 smokes, but Rampy is trying to move in to contest the buck in the back, and is still unable to find him as the buck has gone down to the floor. Thinking nade, using his final bit of utility. They'll trade out here for 1-for-1, but Redeemer, Rampy, and Thinking nade getting a kill each. Shut down OrgLess in the 5th round, and they all rush in. Yeah, that was right on the edge of the smoke. Wasn't a great spot.
Well, the plus side of that hookah being won for OrgLess is it means SSG don't get to play it again because they won it twice. And well,
it is the last round.
Yeah, so I guess there's that. It's definitely to their benefit. Kitchen, something they can win, but have shown they can also lose it, but that was partially due to Brian getting killed early, which was, again, partially due to them being a little too predictable on it. They need to have a secondary attack strat that they go for here. That was great for the very first round. I don't know if that really could have worked a second time. I mean, maybe if it had been farther away in terms of them trying something else in the meantime between those two, but either way, we'll see if they adapt to it this time. Make some different different plays.
Actually, it's a bit odd that OrgLess have pretty much the same pings. Are they? No. OrgLess playing from the same place.
Well, they're not going to be in a team house, right? It's OrgLess.
You say that.
So unless they're just like, let's all be roommates.
Is there something happening that we don't know?
Google it. I don't know.
It honestly, that's a good thing to point out.
It's definitely possible. Conspiracy theories abound.
Can't wait to see how these discussions go, but We'll see how this round maneuvers in as Space Station
Covered the diffuser.
will try to defend
Have to locate a bomb and defuse it.
upstairs in a penthouse yet again.
I mean, it's for kitchen, and it seemed to work out pretty well last time they got stalled out. And that's the thing is, they know how it's set up this time. They know what didn't work last time. OrgLess know what they need to know to adjust. It's just, are they going to? They've got two good 3-speed attackers here in Yeti and Acid to be able to play aggressively once they've got good intel, but they need to be smart about their drone work is what's going to make this happen. Is they need to identify and they need to execute on it quickly. And this is where maybe they need to have someone else droning for them occasionally as well, instead of just depending on, of course, he's going to get spotted there. You almost need to kind of watch the camera before you go in with your drone to make sure that you can go in and shoot out the camera before someone sees you. But either way, he's going to do the usual Ash droning for himself. Sees Doc's little bandages on his calves there. Ready for the play on it. And that's what that barricade is for, to help with that. But that also means Doc is probably not able to see that drone.
Nope.
So he's just going to continue to creep forward and wait for his opportunity to peek it.
No, oh, yeah, unfortunately.
Why not pre-fire it?
Fortunately, it reveals his position, which allows Bosco to set up another angle
has been
for
located.
himself. Yeti unable to capitalize on the position he had early on. Crazy, though, will find the kill on Rampy, taking down the Jaeger. Bosco, in the meantime, will fall down and try to play inside the desk area here.
That's still success, though. They are taking control of the top floor by pushing everyone off from both sides. Exactly what they need to do, and that's the windows down just in case they need to potentially counter that later. And now my man can do his thing.
Yeah, and it's all map control. That's really what you're looking for.
But denied by C4. That is the one counter
Yeah.
to map control from both. So that is my man lost, but they can still open the floor as he did right there with the Viper Strike. And they've got 3 breach charges still from Acid as well if they need to use those.
Yeah, and again, this is something that we need to highlight. Breaching charges are very, very good. They give you a lot of explosive radius to play with if you just want to break down floorboards. So definitely not something to underestimate. Yeti will find one, but a rush from behind. It'll be Bosco to take Acid out. Crazy as well, taken out by the surface entrance. Thinking Nade will finish him off as the plant will go down. Yeti actually finding the kill on Thinking Nade. Bosco and Redeemer still alive with full health, and diffuser set down by Brian, who's going to watch it in the kitchen. Yeti watching rotations as well from the service entrance, but in the meantime, Redeemer actually maneuvers around the Ash as Yeti has fallen off, trying to play the big window, but that's Brian now in that spot. Bosco will peek, but cannot find the angle. Brian setting himself up in a better position. Even the Ash as well to help out on the opposite end, so just take down any utility here used by the defenders. Little time left. They'll find the Doc, but where is Redeemer? Find the kill on one. Can you find the second? Little time left, but Yeti's in.
Need to protect it.
We're unsure of the position of the Ash. OrgLess put another round on the board.
I like the coordination between Brian and Yeti. Once Brian was going for the plant, and I'm sure he called that out, Yeti went for the opportunity to distract on the delivery entrance, which is the opposite side. That forces them to pay attention to that because there's the middle of frags going down. They don't know if there's a push to try and plant on that side as well or to pinch from that side, so they could not watch Brian. Then, again, the teamwork outside, because Yeti didn't give his position away like you mentioned, they didn't necessarily know how they were going to counter it. They did manage to at least get the one kill. Fortunately, just constantly peeking, the timing not working out for the Doc. It was a 2-man advantage with the diffuser down kind of out in the open at that point. It just came down to they were going to have to get lucky with the picks or the timing. Didn't really get lucky with either. But now the attack switches to SSG, and they sneak into 6th pick there from the Capitao to the Dokkaebi. Potentially catch them off guard a little bit, and they don't have the mute jammer to help protect themselves from that. And I know I mentioned that a few times, but that is something, unlike Lion, that does come into play because you don't have to be standing on it the whole time. You just have to be standing on it when the call comes out. They only get 2 calls, and there are very often mute jammers near certain players that are going to be able to take advantage of that, although not necessarily always roamers, but it is something to keep in mind because then that protects you from the drone and the phone call, potentially. So, something that's useful. Acid is going to be also bringing the bulletproof camera. I think at this point, if we see a Doc,
It's
pretty much
just
count
for
on it.
That's why I was talking about it so much.
You used to see Doc very consistently for the barbed wire. So Doc is, again, there's always a discussion of why Doc over Rook. Usually the answer that I've heard from multiple teams is for the utility, regardless. So it was the wire before, and now it's the camera.
Of course, you get your medical device, which as a medical professional, well, paramedical professional myself, I can tell you is not a real thing.
Are you sure?
You know, I don't know what's inside of that. I think it's like morphine or something.
I don't know if you're up on all the literature.
I do have my pharmaceutical guide at home. So
You mean your catalog?
you're one to talk.
Oh, Acid already at half health. He's actually going to use that right away, and that means less for his teammates. He's got to share the care sooner or later. But this is definitely going to keep him alive a little bit longer to clutch it. My man getting punished.
Oh, by Bosco playing
him.
the IQ. Wonderful here. And again, we said that before, we'll say it again. When you use your heartbeat sensor, you can get spotted still by the IQ, so you got to worry about that.
Bomb located by attackers.
Definitely something we saw as being an issue previously. I mean, they did know the IQ was being picked. It was the Dokkaebi that got 6 picked onto. It's definitely something you got to be careful of as a Pulse. Of course, as a Vigil, which we finally got to see a nice highlight of last matchup.
Drone activated.
They are at least taking this top floor control a little bit slowly, but they're definitely taking it to an extent. They just got to get this player out of here. Acid refuses to budge.
Redeemer, in the meantime, going towards the aquarium, I believe. So it makes a lot of sense. You still need to use those smokes to entry in, but there's still the Pulse downstairs, which is going to use this potential C4 and timing to take down Thinking Nade. Thinking Nade very smartly. He'll go for the drone from the hallway and not from the inside of aquarium, just so he can evade any potential C4 play.
Also, he's not doing it through the doorway, so it's going to be less telltale that he's pushing in. However, hitting the barbed wire going to make it a little obvious, but that gives the opening here for Redeemer to push his way in at some point once he wants to open the door. And there's what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Thank you very much for using it here, Space Station. And they'll open up the window in the back as Chala still looking on down. Not sure why OrgLess were not using this on their attacking side, but the Ash has a perfect angle by the tarp. You know, they'll find, actually, no, it's the defense that'll get the kill on Thinking Nade, but a quick and smart nade. Who would have thought? Thinking Nade onto Brian. He'll take them out. It's a good trade. He'll also drop my man on the floor. The Jaeger rushing out, but right in the greening arms of Rampy. As Crazy will go in to pick up my man. The call has come towards Acid, but Chala will finish him off. Diffuser should get set here, but there's Nitro cells to deal with. My man.
15 seconds to go.
Be able to find it here. Do they have info on the Habana? No, there you go. Very smart. The Habana will go for the plant on the pool table, which will allow
5 seconds to go.
the Habana to be completely safe. And Rampy will find 2 more. This is Coastline. This is Rampy's land.
Especially when he's able to play that Ash.
Oh man, that's a beautiful one tap there at the end. That's a Terra would have made. But planting on the billiard table, exactly what you should be doing. You cannot get C4'd from below. It's very difficult to try and thread the needle through those
I was going to say
metal
that
bars.
is a pretty common thing to deal with. So it's similar to the bed in Penthouse.
Yeah.
Where players, especially Pulse players, kind of have to practice that. You have to know how to make that shot hit. And I think, was it Meepy that hit that before, if I remember correctly, when he was hitting someone on the pool table from below?
You have to really find the correct angle that. And it also has to do with the hitbox of the C4. It's
Oh, I ain't saying it's easy.
Yeah, it's not easy
I'm saying
at
it's
all.
your job to practice that.
Very true, and it's not a consistent thing. You kind of have to make sure the setup as well from the player that's opening the hole for you for those later C4s is done right.
Well, overall, a much better attack, as you mentioned earlier in that round. Them opening up the hole in the wall put a lot more pressure on it. Because of that, there was no one to fight on the right, which left them able to fight the front, which is the big deal. I mean, they didn't have to push as much dealing with the tarp side if they could make sure that the mini-buy side is clear. And not only that, but have an extra angle further into the site because of the fact that that was clear with the hole through the outside to the courtyard. Definitely something OrgLess should learn from because it worked very well against them.
Yep.
And of course Rampy doing his thing as well. But they pushed everyone downstairs that wasn't murdered upstairs fairly quickly. That was exactly what they needed to do to go set up for that pool table plant. And we'll see if they're able to defend successfully though here in Penthouse, having failed at Hookah. They can always go back to Hookah later. But switching bomb site seems like the right call. We'll see though. As they set up the mirror windows.
Drone activated.
Rampy trying to decide how he wants to approach this as he gets a little bit of traffic jam going with Redeemer, and unfortunately both their drones go down. So that is what happens when you kind of follow other people's drones. Double the noise.
Double the noise indeed. All right. Rampy right on the outside. So far just taking down in default cams. OrgLess just sitting pretty for the beginning. Space Station know that they're attacking the top floor, so what are they going to do? Take that bottom side. And they have to deal with the kitchen. They have to also deal with the bars. And once those are clear, your attack on the top floor is going to be much, much easier.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Well, let's see if they're able to actually pull that off as the big deal here, because they've only spent a minute so far, but they've also not only lost some drones, but you can hear them being denied some droning a little bit from the mute jammers. But Crazy can open things up on a Rampy. That's a good start for the top fragger going down. Really can slow things down. You also see the goo mines coming out for windows and things like that, so Bosco can't just jump in. Redeemer finds it on the Yeti. Good trade back, but definitely losing Rampy, I would say, was the bigger deal there. See if Redeemer's going to be the one to go in here. He still has one logic bomb left to call this out, but he's going to save that for the actual push potentially. Doesn't really have an opportunity necessarily to push in just yet.
Yeah, they would like to clear out this bottom floor first, but they're not even being given the opportunity, which is great for the defense. This is Crazy and my man just trying to move around the map and just at least keeping the mute in there with the shotgun in hand. We've seen basically the entirety of last week was just highlights of people getting 3 and 4Ks with shotguns, right? So
Yeah, it was definitely not the best thing to be up against.
it was Home Alone all over again. All right, Brian, still one more gas canister left in hell. Oh, beautiful shot on T'Challa. He'll shut down the Habana in the back, and my man will connect on the thinking nade. Good spot here for OrgLess, as they still have C4s in hand. 2 here for Acid and my man. Actually, one will be down, and Brian actually on the floor as well. So 26 seconds on the clock, and this is equilibrium very suddenly. Does Redeemer have any calls left? That's the big question.
Attackers
I heard the phone ring, so I gotta imagine he used it already.
Oh, they're going to try to shut down Acid here, but the C4 Nectro Cell is in hand. He's going to try to peel it off, and it'll connect. Redeemer is going down. 8 seconds on the clock as Bosco will hit the goo mines. He's going to have to go for 2 more kills here at the end. The Habana in the back, and also the Legion supporting right next to her. Not enough time. Defenders will take the round, and OrgLess put 1 on the board. Wonderfully done there with the C4. Unfortunately, that was heartbreaking there.
I think a lot of us were anticipating a possible tie here after this weekend, and it's creeping that direction.
Yeah, remind you that this game got pretty darn close. It was 7-5, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it couldn't tie in the best of 3 formats. So.
Yep, it would have gone to overtime, and would have had a best of 3 overtime as is tradition. We'll also will remind you that at 6 Invitational, none of the matches will be able to tie.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
different.
Which is nice, obviously. But we haven't really seen too many ties anyways in this season so far, thanks to the extra 2 rounds. But you can't tie.
Defenders,
if you do, you go to elimination in overtime and you play those 3 rounds. If I remember correctly, Paris Major had unlimited overtime in the grand final. I believe 6th Invitational will have the same thing as well. We kind of have gone through that and agreed that it would make sense for at least the grand final to have that format.
It's interesting looking at the scoreline being the same between the 2 teams, but the amount of kills from SSG far higher. But despite that, it's just the objective play from OrgLess is superior in that sense.
Kills aren't the be-all, end-all in Siege.
You saw them try and sneak in for some of those plants. Some of that was that first round as well, but then also that plant, I believe it was the last round on Kitchen. Just they're able to get the objective down and play that very smartly. Force the positions coming out. We'll see though how they do on defense here, where of course they cannot necessarily do the same thing, but they can still play objective in terms of holding defense, like you saw last round where they didn't have to get the kill on Bosco, although I'm sure they were trying either way. See that early kill on a Rampy, I think definitely hampered them a bit that round for sure. But Redeemer, though, is the other top fragger on the team at the moment. He was still alive to an extent towards the very end of that round. Unfortunately died just before Bosco went for the clutch push. And I gotta say that goo mine also hugely hampered his ability to do that in a timely fashion and really kind of cost him.
I think you can call him Hampy.
Hampy?
Got him. Well, Rampy on their drone in. You see the heart-shaped opening in the wall that has been opened. Lots of love, right?
That's what it's all about.
That's what I thought LOL meant.
It still can. You can just use it that way.
So
I mean, you use
probably
anchor
shouldn't
totally
use-
different than everyone else, so
Yeah.
you can just do it. It's fine.
Okay, Mom.
They are going to open up that window, though. Nothing to counter it. So they're just going to be pushed back instead. So this is good. Early, I would say early-ish take coming out from SSG.
Yeah, Rampy, again, trying to move in here through the south hallway. So, of course, by the luggage. 2 players in the back. I wonder if the Miro is able... No, they all rushed down. Okay.
That's pretty
Interesting.
stacked up.
Yeah, are they all 3 of them going to fight in the desk area? All right.
Well, I think the idea is you hold this and then also be able to push across the courtyard as needed.
Crazy would at least fall back on the site. Makes a lot of sense to leave Acid in it, and the Jaeger now has gone to the opposite end by CCTV. Rampy, though, will still find the kill on Acid. And just close shot, because you have such a low bit of line of sight to deal with the player down there in the desk. Find him by the stairs.
That low hole being opened across the wall itself is also why they're playing for that lobby control, to control courtyard and lobby, to make sure that hole is used mostly for retake for them rather than for the attackers.
Well, my man also moving out of CCTV, checking if there's somebody moving down the stairs. Still Yeti up top by the cool vibe stairs. Grenades thrown in by Thinking Nade. No more left. 2 breaching charges still in for Bosco. Wasn't able really to use any of them. It is mostly being used as flank watch in the meantime, as usually IQs really end up being later on in the round once the utility has been used as efficiently as possible.
Good timing for the phone call there for the smokes to come out.
All right, Chala's just going to sneak in. Redeemer's going to plant next to him, and
Attackers are activating.
there's nobody there from OrgLess to really reply and respond to this. Rampy will get 1 more kill on him, my man, and it's only Crazy and Brian left alive. Well, make that only Crazy as Bosco walks on in, and yet again, the IQ, beautiful plays there. It's just, they had complete advantage.
Well, it just came down to here's how the take went. They took top floor control. They corralled all the defenders into the lobby and the bomb site. They droned. They took that moment pause, right? Where they droned, they saw the opportunity. They said, trigger the call. As soon as the call went out and everyone was too busy answering their phones, smokes went out. And in that process, they were just too busy to be able to respond to the push coming in. By the time they did, they were so far out and from it. There wasn't much you could do about it at that point to at least stop the plant from being down. And that was SSG absolutely playing the objective that time. That was what they needed to be doing. That was that momentary pause. Because they took some of the top floor very quickly, it gave them the freedom to have that pause, to think about what can we do right now, because we haven't been able to find enough kills to be able to turn this into an execute. So, advantage to SSG. They're not quite match point yet, but 1 round away from it. Although we've seen this go very back and forth. Still a strong possibility of a tie. Rampy, though, already up in the double digits. Bosco 1 away and Redeemer 2 away. And still kind of holding pattern, almost even across the team for OrgLess, outside of the one on the bottom for 2.
They're going to try a similar setup to what we saw before. They're not moving away from this kitchen site. They realized that they kind of relinquished control of the top floor a bit too easily.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine if you can hold that a bit longer, force a bit more time pressure on OrgLess, Space Station, that might work a bit better.
This I'm not a big fan of. Using both Black Mirrors on the top floor?
Yeah, it doesn't leave you one for delivery, which they were already having trouble not watching delivery properly last round, so...
I mean, it still is the big problem of Mira, is that she can easily have her black eyes, or not
Black Mirrors.
Black Mirrors, completely blinded by the smoke, which is why you bring a dog, right? But Rampy's bringing the Ash as well, and there's always utility to try and destroy those bulletproof cameras that are in play. It seems like that Maestro ban is starting to work against OrgLess.
It's definitely the case, yeah. They're not able to do that. I mean, outside of the bulletproof camera and the mirror windows. That's kind of the only intel they're getting for the most part. They're not bringing the Echo, and that's the big difference, is Redeemer was absolutely playing that Echo as needed. So this is definitely a case where they're going to have to depend a bit more on good communication between each other to make it work. My man trying to sneak around there, hiding in the little cubbies as well. This is down to how long can they hold this off.
They have to deal with the shotgun from below as the grenade being dropped in by Thinking Nade. Brian will take a bit of damage, and you hear the bit of the audio cue there as they realized that only a tiny bit was done to the smoke. The ADS is really protecting in here as you still have to deal with the bandit batteries on the other side. Space Station not bringing any, any EMPs or such to use. They'll have to run down with Rampy into the back. And that was a very odd way of like moving around just to take control of the bathroom, even though they had already taken down the wall. But still, Brian has been shot down after a long fight. Grenade thrown into the back as it will destroy one set here of the bandit batteries. The shock wire could definitely be used to take them down, but no, my man will fall back and is that a grenade? No, breaching round right to the face from Rampy. It does allow the attacking side of SSG to move in and try to clear theater ASAP, but oh no, they're not watching the walkway up the stairs. Bosco though will find two. Crazy. A takedown Chala as he spots the drone of Redeemer. That's all the information that's required. Crazy goes in and he finds it. Bosco goes down. Beautiful coordination there. Just, oh man. Spots the drone, takes it out, and instantly flicks up because you know what? He knows that Space Station want to deal with him in that situation. And that's why Redeemer has that drone right in front. Acid will do damage. At least will heal himself back up. Thinking Nade, low on health. Redeemer still alive, and oh, Crazy again! Instantly snaps to the head of Redeemer, takes him out, and now it's all Thinking Nade. Crazy no Nitro Cell, but doesn't matter. He's done the work. He's lived up to the name in this one, Devin. And what can Thinking Nade do? He's gonna ponder his...
5 seconds to go.
You can't save the op in this situation. He sprays through the wall, and there's not much time. Basically, none of it left. The defense.
Operators,
OrgLess take the round, and oh
The back and
man,
forth continues.
that was
Well played by Crazy.
yo.
I mean, they burned 2 minutes and 30 seconds on that top floor. They dedicated a lot more people to it and lost more people in it. But the fact that Crazy lived and rotated the hatch back down, and he didn't see Thinking Nade do that,
And
it just...
honestly, I look in this entire match, and there's a lot of individual plays
Yeah.
that overshadow some of the tactics.
I mean, that's kind of what's always going to happen in a way, is the tactics are only as good as your execution.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And there's been a ton of good plays as well on the defense where you're able to play around your opponent's position. I mean,
Defenders, protect
big
your bombs
highlight,
from being defused
that
by
mirror.
attackers. Bomb located by attackers.
I mean, again, they're just the utility differences they're bringing. For example, they're not bringing the bandit, or I mean the Thatcher to counter the bandits and things like that. But then, you know, OrgLess aren't bringing the Echo, so it's like it's very different ways of playing, and because of that, you know, it's like you like to say side grades, and
Very true.
so you're seeing this back and forth, and that's why you're ending up with this 5-5 scoreline. A lot of that is ending up on individual players like Rampy or Redeemer or Acid or Crazy.
And we mentioned it so many times, you can't really rely on outstanding plays. But in this game,
Seconds remaining.
it's just been the driving force of it.
Well, it's because when all things are equal,
5
the
seconds
smallest
remaining.
things, you know, stand out, right? It's just those small plays that really make the difference then.
The bomb.
And the small plays
Attackers
become
are
the big
heading out
ones.
to defuse the bomb.
Absolutely, that's been the story of this match so far, and this is kind of what we were expecting now. There's definitely a good chance that one of these teams pulls ahead and pulls out the 7-5, but certainly possible we get that 6-6 scoreline we were thinking it was potential because of these teams just seem to be so on par with each other, judging by what we saw this weekend and judging by what we're seeing here now, at least on some maps in particular.
All right, Rampy now upstairs trying to watch and protect Chala, possibly. The opposite end of the map. They're going to try to attack down in the double bars, if I'm not mistaken. And drone will come on in, thinking they trying to take control of Penthouse ASAP, but have to deal with my man and Crazy, no, going down on the mute. And that's what you wanted to watch. Rampy unfortunately can't get the shot. He'll have to put himself in a better spot, but oh, yet he uses it to his advantage.
Baited.
Oh, perfectly baited here by the mute.
You even have a dock if you didn't want to go all the way up there.
They're gonna grab Crazy and pick him up 50% health. Space Station lose Rampy, and that's a big part of their firepower. The spearhead has been shut down, and suddenly a bit more blunt.
Yeah, I mean only a minute 15 burned, but that's only a minute 40 left, and they've lost their one of the top fraggers and haven't gained a ton of ground to accommodate for that.
No.
So looking like this could be the lead coming out for OrgLess if they can continue to maintain this. They need to play a bit more time now, though. They need to play smart and a little bit more mobile, because if they get droned out, they could start getting pressured by coordinated attacks, because there's still 4 men left alive and phone calls available, as well as, I imagine, some grenades. But they just got to play that time and slight mobility.
I'm thinking Nade is in the luggage area now. There's some remodeling being done here. You see the Jaeger, my man, up in the back. Now, frag grenades can be used here, but you're also afraid of over-utilizing utility and just losing your frag grenades to the ADSs. And actually, this all allows the Jaeger to sneak away. No, my man is still there. He's still going to try to contest this, and it makes a lot of sense. 40 seconds are on the clock, and you have a time advantage. This is, though, what Thinking Nade's going to try to do. Grenade all the way to the bottom side.
Yeah. We're starting to see that become a lot more common.
Yeah. Does not. Oh! Answering OrgLess and Crazy finds Thinking Nade. Sir, you got my team in, but I'll take you out as well, neighbor.
Yeah, you want to go with an explosion? Here's one back. Either way, this is looking like pretty desperate at 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Say that. Perfect timing. Flash, though, into the side of the Rook. Brian, though, will find a kill on... No! Chala almost evading the shots there. We'll find one on Crazy, but asked to refrag. One last alive is Redeemer, but not for long. Brian connecting with the shotgun, and OrgLess win out round number 11. One more for a win, but also... Is that the gun floating in the air? All right.
It's the new move.
This can turn into a tie. Very possible.
Yep. I mean, I don't want to say likely, because it's certainly OrgLess seem to have kind of gotten a little bit of a groove going the last 2 rounds. And so far on defense, they're the only one with a streak, because it went SSG, then OrgLess, then SSG, then OrgLess, but then OrgLess again. So finally the lead they get here. This is momentum. And this is down to which team potentially might choke the most, I suppose. Is it the team on match point that can't close it out? Or is it the team that feels like we were so close, but we couldn't quite bring it there?
Remember, the best case scenario here for Spacestation is, of course, tie, and they'll get 1 point out of it, you know, which, in that case...
It's demotivating.
It's demotivating. It'll put them on 3 points. It'll put OrgLess up on 4. You know, there's still Dark Zero and Accelerate playing later, which will move things around and shift it up, but, you know, Space Station not really living up to the expectations early on in the season. And remember, things have changed for many teams in Season 8 and possibly here as well.
Both these teams have been struggling a little bit, and OrgLess, I feel like maybe seemed like they were going to be struggling a little bit more till this weekend. So if they can pull out the lead win here, maybe it'll make up a little bit for not getting the Invitational qualifying. But at the same time, like, that'll bump them up aboard a bit, because a 3 is a lot more than a 1 in terms of how close some of the leaderboard gets at the end of the season.
That'll actually put them above Rogue.
That would be a pretty impressive for, I think, a team that a lot of people were starting to kind of write off to an extent.
Well, who would have thought reciprocity, if you know, there's no free wins that are being given away, will actually hit that second spot.
Everyone's always talking about, you know, EU being so competitive this season. NA's starting to shape up a bit too coming into this play day.
Very true. Very true. Bosco now sitting up here on the Twitch, missing, I believe he was trying to hit that second level, just driving off the end, but I'll be moving down from the main stairs.
So he's going to have to work on his next level droning.
True. Literally next level. But Twitch on the outside. We've seen, again, so many Twitch plays in recent memory, just because the F2 brings a lot. And also, in this case, with the Mira not being banned, what's the easiest counter?
Yep.
Bring the FAMAS. Well, bring the FAMAS, but also the Twitch, specifically for those drones. Chala will find one on my man. Starting things off very well here for Space Station. Now, Crazy's being called, and they know now he's on the top floor, just holding off by Hookah. They'll have to watch it, but they don't have to push him anytime soon.
Definitely the case where they've got a lot of time to work with, and they do have 1 kill plus the damage on Crazy. Rampy did get slowed down a bit by that goo mine, but seems to have recovered just fine in terms of getting up to do his job here. But they've got to start applying pressure, even if it's not leading to kills, just to corral them.
Yeti looking all the way down, has impacted 1 wall. To look in the VIP, Acid in the back, trying to find an angle on the attackers. Yeti doing damage. Chala's fairly low on health here, but the mirror windows have already been popped. So Chala kind of outlives his usefulness in this situation, at least only in terms of utility. C4 thrown out and will not connect with anyone. Not sure what Acid was trying to do there. He takes a bit of damage. Rampy will find 1 kill. And he denied a diffuser. Yes, he can. He can't find the 2nd kill. Shotgun in hand, but Rampy's close enough. A 5-7 will get a kill. Turn around and find. Oh no, Yeti, how is he still alive? The Buck runs away, and Crazy can't do anything against the diffuser being planted. Well, that's Rampy taken out as he tries to dive out the window. Still, Thinking Nade alive with little health, and 3 players in for Space Station. Yeti to take down Thinking Nade. Diffuser sit on the side by the big window here as Crazy and Yeti will rally together and try to corral their way into that diffuser. Crazy cannot find the angle on the outside as Rappel up for Chala. I'll find 1 kill, and low on health as a Legion is looking like a tie, and you have to stick this one here. There's not much that you can do. They're just gonna dive from the hatch here in the bathroom. Or no, even Bosco finding the shot all the way from downtown. And that's it. The tie will come in. Close game. Are we gonna start hearing about the whole ties thing all over again?